I'm Vivek from K4 Metrics. You may be aware that SmartUQ is integrated with softwares like Ansys Workbench, Console, MSA items. Now, what if you're using some other commercial software or some open source software or your in-house software? So, how you can integrate your solver with the SmartUQ? So, that is something that we'll be seeing in today's video. So, to address this, SmartUQ has created something called Smart Sim IO, which I'll be showing how it works and how you can integrate with your solver. The solver that we'll be using for this video is the SU2 solver, that is the Stanford University solver. The first step I'll be doing is I'll be going to the Smart Sim IO menu and I'll create it. So now when I come to this Smart Sim IO, so I'll have to specify some master files that SmartUQ will refer and will modify for each different simulations. So first is I have to specify a master input file. So I'll select add. So here in my working directory, so I have a master input file, a master output file, and along with that I have the mesh file with me for the airfoil case. So I'll specify the configuration file, which is the input for SU2. So it reads the file and it lists all the available variables within the configuration file. And the variables of interest for me is Mach number, angle of attack, and free stream pressure. So these are the three values that I'll be varying for each simulation run. So once this is done, I'll go to output files. I'll click on add and I'll select the master output file. Again, it shows the list of variables and its values within this output file. So the variables of interest for me are CD and CL, and I would like to take the value from the last iteration of this output. So I'll select the last values and I will give the name as CD and CL. Now, after each run is completed, when SmartUQ will parse the output files, it has to take the value from the last iteration for that particular simulation. So, in order to do that, I will specify the anchor as bottom of the file. So, any file with any number of iterations, so SmartUQ will only consider the last iteration value. Now, I'll come to the run configuration. So, here I'll be specifying the code that I'll be using to run the simulations. So, as I mentioned, I'll be using the SU2 solver. So, I'm in the SU2 bin folder and I will copy the path for the SU2 executable. So, I'll remove the exclamation here. So, once this is done, then here I'll specify percentage input underscore files and again percentage. So this command will parse your working directories and it will take up each configuration file one by one to perform the simulations. So to know if there is anything problematic going on or some error comes in, so what I'll do is I'll also ask it to output a log file so that I can refer it. So now the command is also ready. Now we need the input values for the simulations. So for that I'll create a DOE. So I'll create the sliced Latin hypercube design. So we have created the videos on the benefits of sliced LHD and how we can create it. So you can refer those videos. So I have the number of factors 3 and I have the factors and the lower and upper bounds for that. So I'll be taking 2 slice and 15 runs. per each slice. So I'll have 30 combinations of input parameters. So this is the space filling LHT or sliced LHT that I have. So now I'll go back to SmartSeam.io and I'll go to the next steps and I'll select the generate input files. Here I'll select the sliced LHT that I created, the input parameters, and I'll just remove the slice number from the list. Select the output directories. So I'll select the same directory where I am working right now. What I'll also do is I'll select the run option. So now SmartUQ will create the configuration files for these 30 simulations and it will start performing the simulations one by one. So I'll click on create. So now let's look at that directory. So earlier I only had these files. So now we can see that it has created a bat file to run the commands. It has created an input that is the 30 input parameters. It has listed in a single CSV file. And for each run, it has created a separate folder and it contains the input configuration file. And once the simulation is done, so it also adds the result files in that specific folder. So all 30 simulations are completed. So now what I'll do is I will go to the next steps and I'll select parse output files. I'll give the directory. So that master file which I had given 1_history.csv. So it will look for that same file name in all those 30 folders and it will take the CD and CL values from the last iteration. So I'll click on create. Now you can see that it gives the input values and corresponding CD and CL values in a single table. So now you have the input parameters as well as the output parameters. So you can start building or training your emulator in SmartUQ. So this concludes this video. So if you have any questions, so you can reach out to us at support@kfometrics.com or drop a comment down below.